Hey, hey, Michelle here, and Mr. Ollie back there from Sensate Soul, as well as the Soul Translator. And I help empaths and HSPs, and what I lovingly call as empreneurs, have and be and do who we are in our life and also in our work or business if we become an empreneur with our abilities and gifts and talents and perceptive qualities. So today, briefly, I want to speak about the empath enigma. The jet boat gets off, takes off right when we're going to take off on this topic. So there is a type of empath, let's say not so much a type, but a particularity of character that is more of an empath enigma. Often when people think of empaths, they think of soft, sensitive, empathetic, intuitive, introverted, observer. There's a lot of different qualities or ways that we can describe kind of, what the typical assumed empath is out there in the world. And we are all on a spectrum. And there is a type of empath that I am and that I also work with many of and have known many of and am friends with many of, that is a little bit less predictable in the empath and HSP world. And that is I call us the tough but tender. And you may find yourself in some of these statements, so listen up. So if you find yourself being introverted yet also easily extroverted, depending on those that you are around, there are also very extroverted empaths, believe it or not. Even if that may sound like a contradiction, it's not, because empathy is, and being able to be empathic is an energetic thing. It's not a personality thing. So, and it's using, it's a heightened sensitivity. So we are also often ones who are leaders, who are stepping into leadership roles. We are ones who are tend to be catalysts, tend to be initiators. We tend to be community creators. However, you may not feel like you are somebody who is very community oriented. So I was in a group of empaths the other day and we were talking about this, and it is this funny thing where many of us feel that we are the ones who start communities, but we're not necessarily followers, or we're not necessarily community members. So that may sound a little bit funky, but it's the being part of something or even starting and leading something is very different than the mindset or the mentality or personality trait that makes somebody very more of a follower, more of somebody who is really seeking to be part of a community. And it's not that us tough but tender empaths don't like to be part of a community. We love it in many ways. We can. And I'm saying we as a generality here. I'm not trying to put any sort of assumption or overarching universalization kind of thing on top of you. I'm saying this because I'm speaking specifically to the group that I identify as of empaths and HSPs, and hoping that you will find some support and resonance and inspiration in this if you do identify with this as well. So many of these tough and tender empaths and HSPs find that they are actually very individually wired, which is a contrast also to being an empath, because often there's this assumption that, well, if you're an empath and empathic HSP, it means that you're always, connected, and you're always like attuned to kind of group mind mentality, that you're not an individual sovereign being, basically. And it's my belief that actually All of us are sovereign beings. We just have different blueprints, shall we say, of how we, what we lean into, what we naturally am attracted to. I am naturally attracted to being an individual, a lone wolf to a certain extent, but that doesn't mean I don't have a pack. It doesn't mean that I don't want to be part of a pack. Also, I lead packs. So I like to make this distinction here that when you are, if you do feel this is true for you, that you are generally more of an individually wired empath, an HSP, or person, that doesn't mean that you don't benefit from being part of a community or starting, leading, inspiring a community. A lot of empaths and HSPs I found over the years have a little bit of this push-pull thing with the whole tribe mentality, the tribe aspect. You know, there's a lot of stuff in social media and marketing that's talking about finding your tribe, finding, you know, your people. And I believe that that is absolutely true, because on, you know, a very deep level in our brains and Maslow hierarchy of needs, you know, we do have that need to belong. It's one of the core parts of being a human. And also a lot of individually wired empaths and HSPs, we have a very strong sense of belonging to our own individuality. So that's another trait that's really distinct for some types of empaths and HSPs, and is not necessarily expected to be for people like us. Here's another aspect of the individual wired empath or HSP. We often are also in communities because we are the ones that kind of shake things up a bit. We bring a fresh perspective, or we're more of like the truth teller, the sleuthing, you know, underneath the surface and seeing what's going on, and we're the one who kind of goes, okay guys, we need to look at this other thing because there's a disharmony here, there's a disconnection here. So often these individual sensitives can be part of a community, part of a family system, part of a relationship, part of a organization. And it's actually part of our job, because it's, you know, very designed within us to be catalysts of change. Now, this means stepping up and trusting that you can do that. And that's a whole nother big thing. There are so many beautiful change agents who are HSPs and empaths who are doubting their ability to be able to create change in their own lives and also in the lives of others in heartfelt, empathic, creative, kind of intuitive, empowering kind of ways, because we have been raised a lot, or we are living in a society that still doesn't really believe us, that we are who we are. And we're still learning so much more about the HSP spectrum and how different ones, how some of us are, you know, just simply, we tick differently in certain ways. And I think you would probably agree with me that sensitivity is generally something that has been denied, disconnected, and shamed a lot for a long time, because sensitivity is connected to receptivity, femininity, vulnerability. Look at all of the incredible big studies now that are all about vulnerability and shame, like Brene Brown, like others who are doing that work in the world. You know, it's really about this reclaiming that we don't need to be these, you know, super stiff, unavailable, emotionally shut down, patriarchal, and I will add that there, because there is a lot of that domination energy with that masculine. So I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I wanted to add this here because it's really important that when we think of these tough but tender empaths, when you think of yourself and identify yourself this way, it's this funny contrast of being very strong and also very sensitive. And the two do mix beautifully together. Whether you consider yourself a tough but tender, or whether you are simply more tender, but still your sensitivity is your strength. So just like any different human being or personality or type, even if we have a label that person identifies with, that you identify with, let's not make assumptions, because there are many different gradations of us on all sorts of different spectrums. So please do, if you identify with yourself as being one of these tough and tender empaths, know that there are many of you out there in the world, and please do tune into your incredible, healthy contrasts and your skills and talents and gifts in being you, and use them for the good of your life and also the good of others, because you know what I'm talking about. You know that that's something that you naturally feel a lot of fire shaking. It's like a lot of fire inside around your purpose to show up in ways as a tough but tender empath and HSP. And that goes for everyone else, even if you don't identify as this type of empath enigma. You know that you're here for a purpose and a reason, and who you are designed as a sensitive being is a big part of that. I totally believe that to be true. I know it's true in my life, and it's because of the, it's why I do the work that I do. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think and feel about this topic, as well as come on over to sensatesoul.com. You'll find lots of things there that can help support you as an empath, HSP, and empreneur, as well as do like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with a friend, do all that wonderful social media stuff, and so much love. See you in the next video. Okay, bye for now.